Right, welcome back everybody. You're watching Cape Rugby TV. Alistair, your thoughts just on, we were talking a little bit earlier on about the difference between Super League A and Super League B. Jerome, you were actually saying that you don't feel like we're getting enough running rugby anymore in Super League B. I don't know, Alistair, did you buy into that?
I think some of the games or teams, I'm not going to mention teams, but more structured than, than they used to be.
Yeah.
Super League B used to be a league we were watching where it's a lot of flair, sidestepping, ball being floated around, and nowadays it's become more structured.
But Jerome, isn't that what you guys work for? You work for structured rugby? You work for boring rugby, actually, don't you?
No. That's not. Look, you have to have that balance between, like, you have to be good in your set pieces, but you don't always have to play the stump car rugby. That's not. I think the people don't want to see that. They want to see tries and they want to see exciting rugby. Though we preach that you have to defend well and you have to do that, but I just feel like maybe it's still early days, but I just feel like it can still open up a bit.
So what do you do then? I mean, how do you find that balance? Both of you guys, you're international level coaches. How do you find that balance of saying to a player, don't take chances, but be expressive?
I think it's just giving them a framework of to play in, a framework to play in, or a skeleton to play in, and then allowing them to express themselves within that framework.
Yeah.
And then, as Jerome said, even though you want to play exciting brand of rugby, you still want a good set piece because you need a platform to launch from.
Do you run the risk, Jerome, of keeping a player feel like he's suffocating, that he wants to play more, wants to be expressive, wants to run the ball, but the coach in some cases is saying, don't take any chances, make sure you only do the moves that we ask you to do?
I think that's exactly, I think you're spot on there. I think that's exactly what's happening now. I think the coach is it's just his way now, and there's no player buy-in, like the player can't tell him, like, this is what he wants, because you have to guide him, but you have to also have, if you don't have a player buy-in, you can lose the player. And players don't like just, especially nowadays, not to be told not to do this, not to. If there's an opportunity, you can chip and you can get the ball, you can score, go score. But then the coach, if you don't score, the coach say, I'm going to take you out of the team next week because you're not supposed to do that.
All right, well, let's take a look here at some of the highlights between FalsbeBay and Stellenbosch. Here we go. Right, there we go. What a game. FalsbeBay leading at halftime, 29 points to 19. Jerome, that's a 10-point margin, but it's still a lot of points being put on in the first half.
Yeah, I don't know how to put it. It seems like there's 2 halves within the half.
Yeah.
Because
But
it
no
seems
idea
that
what you mean by 2 halves within a half.
it
but
seems
okay.
like the first 20 minutes Martin
Was
was
all
running
Martins, yeah.
away
Yeah.
and the first half, and then the second 20 minutes it was FalsbeBay in the because it's 40 minutes to half time.
All right, Alistair, do you see the 2 halves in a half?
So Martis was leading 19-5.
Yes.
Okay. With X amount of time to go. And then by the halftime, by the 40-minute mark, they were down 29-19. So it's 2 halves in 1 half.
Folks, I have honestly no idea what Jerome and Alistair are talking about in terms of their latest definition of accounting skills of having a half in a half. But what we do know is that FalsbeBay were leading by 10 points. But Jerome, so a quick question to you then. What is the coach from Stellenbosch saying to his players at this time, at a half time like this?
Look, you obviously say, look, we know like there are holes in their defense. Let's just get back to how we played it first 20 minutes, and then we'll get our points on the board.
Okay, so steady minds. Let's take a look. Second half, FalsbeBay Stellenbosch. Final result, 53-38 win for FalsbeBay over Marties. Jerome, your thoughts, final thoughts?
Look, it's spot on, like we say, what was the halftime talk of Martis?
Yeah.
They were leading way back into the second half. They were leading again. And it's a funny game, but it's good rugby. I mean, look, it's almost 100 points in the game, so the defense wasn't that good. But I mean, that's what we want to see: running rugby, get the ball through their hands and go score. And it was good rugby. I mean, obviously, Marties thought they had a game, and then FalsbeBay never gave up.
Alistair, your thoughts before we
Yeah,
close it off?
Coming back from a 10-point deficit to take the lead and then, going behind again. It's an exciting game of rugby, a lot of attacking rugby. But as Jerome said, the defense probably needs to be tightened up.
All right, Jerome, we're going to say goodbye to you now. Your plans for the weekend?
Again, rugby. Hopefully the games will. I think the games will pick up now. Guys know now the points and stuff. It's
apparently it's going to be a wet weekend, a rainy weekend. So that might slow things down a little bit.
Rugby's a winter sport.
Rugby's a winter sport. Jerome, thanks for that. We'll catch you again next week, same time, same place. Right, folks, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be taking a look at some more of the matches. Villagers are up against UWC and Hamilton's against SK Warmers. Renzel Botman joins us. He'll also give us his thoughts on the match between Goodwood and Kraaifontein. All that coming up after the break.